Alright. Hey guys, hopefully the music isn't too loud. Actually, it probably is. Let me go ahead and turn that down. Yep, no fancy green screen, you know, chroma keying me out. Right now, this is a completely rushed, unplanned stream as specified in the chat. Very odd time, very random time, I understand. But I know it's been a long time, so yeah, I miss you guys, and I miss doing this, so welcome. For those of you who haven't been here before, welcome. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. How's everybody doing tonight? An elder. Just gonna wait before I get into the juicy stuff before we get more people in the stream. I feel really, I don't know, I feel really weird right now. Really nervous for some reason. Hello, my fellow history nerds. We are all history nerds here. By the way, for those of you who want to like talk about history and stuff regularly, more specifically African history, but history in general, feel free to join my Discord server. Well, let me rephrase that. Our Discord server for all of us history nerds. I think I still have a command for this. Let's see. No, I don't. Let me go. If you go down into the description of the live stream, you'll see the link to the Discord. There's people in there chatting 24/7. We all talk about history. We got alternate history channels, general history channels, books and films. It's a nice little community, and probably the only decent community out there that I know of, at least, where a lot of, like, you know, a large amount of African history lovers collectively join and just discuss history on a regular basis. So if you want that in your life, join the Empire. Do you follow the activities of Demon Stith? I just recently subscribed to him, actually. I haven't watched too many of his videos, but it's a pretty cool channel. It's stuff like that we really need. About that, I joined today, but I can't type. Oh, in the Discord. Yeah, there's a rank. We recently reworked the way the server roles work. If you tell me your name, I could literally fix that right now. But we recently reworked it. There's a rank that you get assigned upon joining, but I guess I gotta go back and edit that because it's clearly not giving it to new members automatically. So we have to manually do it from now. What's your name in Discord? Somebody give me a link to Discord, please. Like I said, XMusicX. It's the link to the Discord is in the description of this video, or this live stream, and pretty much the description of every other video I upload. So we got 12 people watching now, not bad, better than I expected, considering it was completely unplanned and pretty much filtered out every single European or African viewer I have right now. I mean, I'm sure that I have some, but what is it, like 2 a.m. for you guys over in Europe? 2 a.m., 3 a.m., depending on what part of Europe you're from. Alright, we're up to 15. I guess we can go ahead and start talking about some of the cool things I have planned. I'm sorry, I know there's been a little bit of a hiatus with video uploading. I'll start with that. There's been a little bit of a hiatus with uploading videos, and that's just, life's been really busy. That's the best way to put it. Life's been really busy. Preparing to move right now. I only got like literally 10 days to move, so, and I still haven't found a place. That's the sad part. And what else? Oh yeah, there's like 4 things I have lined up. 4 things. I got collaborations lined up, and as well as patron requests that I need to fulfill. And it's I'm sorry for the lack of content. I really need to put it out as soon as possible. But anyway, aside from that, I got some really exciting stuff planned for you. as you guys probably are already aware of, there is... I'm going to do a video on this as well, by the way, to explicitly outline what I'm about to talk about. But most of you are probably aware of the overall lack of good pre-colonial African maps out there. Actually, let me bring up some right now. So, if I go ahead and switch to the big screen... Oh boy, I got way too many tabs open. Story of my life. Alright. What's up, Zapoteca? It's been a while. I haven't seen you in Discord in a long time. You'd probably really like, you should talk to, one of our members, Aslan... I can't remember how to say his name exactly. I'm probably completely butchering it. What is it? It's, Aslan Historian? He makes videos on, Mesoamerica. Like, you should really, you know, talk to him. Anyway, that's a topic for later. So basically, let me switch over to the big screen right now. So, basically, when you look up maps of pre-colonial Africa, let's actually just type in pre-colonial African maps. So when you look for a map of pre-colonial Africa, you're likely going to get something like this. You know, it's like a bunch of little blobs, missing a lot of things. You know, clearly, like, you know, there's no Rosvi Kingdom, there's no Zulu, there's barely anything, inconsistent times periods, and just overall poor craftsmanship of the map in general. Like, there's nothing consistent or aesthetically appealing about this. And it's missing a lot of stuff, and all the shapes and sizes of the empires are inaccurate. You know, and then you'll get things like this, you know. What is this? I don't even know what this is supposed to be showing. And then you have, let's see. This is a video map I used in my "What If Africa Was Never Colonized by Europeans" videos. You know, this is a pretty neat concept, but this isn't an accurate map. It's an alternate history map, which is pretty cool. You know, I'm not discrediting this one at all. It's just not a actual history map of Africa. So anyway, so yeah, with all this being said, I mean, this one's decent, I guess, but it's still missing a lot of empires and things like that, and it's only from 1880. So then, when you look up, you know, just about any other part of the world, for example, medieval Europe, for example. Oops. Medieval Europe map. You get all kinds of very accurate maps, you know. So with that said, after scouring the internet and finding pretty much no accurate maps, like, whatsoever, of Africa, like, some of them are moderately accurate, but they only show, like, small regions, I decided I'm just gonna make my own map. So, yeah. This is what I've been working on. This is one of the things I've been working on. It's still not complete, but this is a preview I just wanted to share with you guys. So, yeah. This is what I have so far. It's actually changed a lot since then. I'm still working on it. I've been referring to actual historical maps of pre-colonial times. Hold on one second. I need to make one change really quick. Confidential stuff. Need to take down the big screen for this one. So, anyway, I'm making my own new accurate map of Africa, and I plan it. Basically, I guess I'm gonna make a completely dedicated video for this, and I plan on, okay, there we go. That's all good. Gotta have my copy-proof stuff on it, you know. But I plan on constantly updating this map for accuracy. For example, all of these, as far as I know, are completely accurate of the Great Lakes kingdoms of Africa, minus Katara, which I've edited. I've changed that since then, but I have them numbered right here, and then there's a little key at the top that shows you the names of each respective kingdom. I'm missing a lot, I know. Again, I have a long way to go, but this is the project so far. Let me go ahead and catch up on the chat a bit. Who's I didn't hear about the Mesoamerican YouTuber. Oh, it was Aslan Historian. He just started. He's a brand new YouTuber. We actually have a collaboration plan in the near future, so you'll hear more from him about him later. Have cool maps from Historical Atlas of Africa. Awesome, Shapper. If you like, you could email those to me or something if you'd like to contribute towards this. That'd be very helpful. Any historic maps I can get my hands on, I'm doing my best to make this as accurate as possible. All right, let's see. Finally, another live stream. Missed the last one. Yeah, the last one. I kind of announced it a little early. It wasn't my own stream, so it was something done on Step Back History channel. Zulu comes very late in history, so they wouldn't be there. Yeah, but that map was not a specific period in time. That's the thing. It showed several kingdoms throughout African history. What period is that? This is not any particular period. This is just any African kingdom I can think of, and then after I get every kingdom I can think of, at least the most important ones for now, because like I said, it's going to be an ongoing, never-ending process. After I get more kingdoms, then I will start specifically making different maps from different periods. I'll have, like, for example, 3000 BC to 3000 BCE to 500 CE, for example, and then like 500 CE to 1400 CE, and so on and so forth. But for now, I'm just going to do everything. As you can see, some of the kingdoms kind of overlap. Like, you see, like, you got Ghana, Mali, Songhai. So yeah, it's multiple different time periods for now. And ultimately, I plan on having this map to where each of these kingdoms is on an online portal, and you can click on them, and it opens up information and images about the history and the architecture and things of that nature. Zoom in Southeast Africa for us. Yeah, I didn't do a whole lot there yet, but yeah, got Zimbabwe, Razvi, Mutapa, Zulu, and then Moravi right here, and then the Kingdom of Marina from Madagascar. I've created a good playlist of African arms and armor, more than 350 examples. If you're ever interested, check out my Pinterest account, same name. Alright, cool. I just saw you join the Discord, Ghost Hero. We actually have a channel in the Discord where you can promote your content. So, if you want to do that, and ask one of my moderators to give you permission. I mean, I would do it right now, but I'm kind of handling all this stuff. Have you read Children of Blood and Bone, written by Tommy? I have not. Can you zoom in at Northwest Africa? Sure. There isn't anything there, actually. Not yet. I'm covering Sub-Saharan Africa first, and even still, I'm only covering the most popular empires first. Every so often, if I find a little nugget of information about one empire, then I'll go ahead and add it in. But yeah, for now, I'm just getting the important stuff out of the way first. And by important, I mean most well-known and the most documented, most information. Not that one is more important than the other. Are you going to add a mythology text channel? Probably not. It's not really a broad enough topic for the Discord. What is that Central African one? Oh, that's Lunda. I think that's terribly wrong. I made this one solely off of descriptions. Like, solely, like, I saw no images of, or I saw a few, but none of them were consistent. So, again, all information towards the accuracy of Borders of Africa will be greatly appreciated. What happened to Christian Nubia? Oh. Christian Nubia was conquered by Muslims. As far as I know. Alright, what else? So yeah, also, another exciting thing I have planned. Well, I'm gonna have to bring some bad news about this map, by the way, guys. So, brace yourselves. As you know, all of these videos require a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I'm just one person doing it. Same with this map, a lot of time and a lot of effort. And with that said, it's going to be my first piece of merchandise that I will offer from this channel. So it's not going to be free. And I mean, unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, I've been working on this for like 2 weeks, and I still have a long way to go. It takes a lot of time, a lot of precision, a lot of effort, a lot of research. So, I mean, that's just the reality of it. Like, I need funding to, you know, continue this project, especially if I'm going to make an online portal for it. I want to fund this project and make it into something bigger and better. And unfortunately, you know, that requires money. So you're not, what were you talking about, meme generator? What do you mean I'm not a robot? Will this include tribes that did not become kingdoms like the Maasai? Yes, it will. It will, however, I will label them differently. The kingdoms and states will have these hard borders and colors and, you know, very bold names, whereas the small tribes and nomadic groups will be labeled as possibly like a phase with no hard borders and probably in a different color text. Just so people won't confuse the two. Like if they want to be like, oh, I want to look up this kingdom, and they click on a tribe or something instead, and they won't be misled. Would be interesting if you can create a prediction video about the future of Africa. The state of Africa right now is very interesting. Yeah, I try to steer clear of modern and future Africa and focus more on historical Africa, for now at least. Not Lunda, Katara, never heard of that. Oh, Katara. Katara was apparently an empire that existed prior to all of the Great Lakes kingdoms. According to the oral history of all of these people, they all claim that they were once part of a great Katara empire. So, like, I don't think it existed during the time when Europeans arrived, but they heard the same story from all the Great Lakes kingdoms. So, I mean, you know, there's no denying that an empire did exist. And they claim they were part of the Katara Empire, and then when it collapsed, it fragmented into several kingdoms. And that's East Africa, by the way, not Central Africa. Not to be super technical, but yeah. And it's not Cushitic, it's a Bantu empire. Are you gonna patent this because you can make some serious profit off of this? I would like to, but right now I'm really just trying to. I don't know what I'm gonna do fully with it. All I know is that I want to sell it in order to fund it and make it bigger and better. Can you go to the left a little bit? Sure, why not? Did you want to see the Congo Kingdom and the surrounding states? They seem to even occupy territory owned by Akoli. Oh, the Katara. Like I said, this Katara one is inaccurate. I've been relying solely off descriptions for this one. I haven't seen any actual depictions of it because I doubt any ever existed. But I just need to continue doing research. I've already updated it since then. This is an outdated map. The Katara, I don't think it extended this far north. I think it only extended maybe around here, like to this lake right here. I can't remember the name of that lake, but I think it went like up to that lake and that was it. And it controlled all of these kingdoms prior to their independence. Would be great for schools. I completely agree, like 100%. That's one of my long-term goals for this. No Bantus ever reached Sudan. That's not Sudan. This is very far from Sudan. What are you talking about? Sudan's like way up here. Like this general region, like the Sahel. This is like way into the tropical grasslands. And then Congo was larger than that? Not according to the maps I looked at. I have the Congo is one of the more accurate ones I have on this map, actually. Like it has the specific rivers and everything. But like I said, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but that's one of the ones I feel the most confident with because I've been using maps and research or in references as much as I could to make sure this is as accurate as possible. Lunda, I think it's way too big, but based on the descriptions, that's what I got out of it. Same with Mutapa. But Mutapa, I think I got fairly accurate. Lunda, I don't know. I'm having my doubts. Or not Lunda. Yeah, Lunda. Cuba should be much bigger. I don't think so. I don't think Cuba was ever that big. Bamum didn't migrate from Kush. I don't think so. The Bamum were a Bantu kingdom, I'm pretty sure. And the Kushites are certainly not Bantu. Lunda was large based on what I read. Yeah, same here, but I don't know. I just never seen it depicted that large on any map before, so I'm not sure. But I mean, that's exactly why I'm doing this project, because I want to get a map, like an accurate map of Africa out there without a bunch of egg-shaped blobs, you know. This whole region right here is currently being reworked, by the way, because I got a really good map for reference for it, and this one was kind of wrong, so I'm reworking this whole region right now. And it was actually a map from the 1800s, drawn by a European mapper of who explored the region. So, and he had all the borders drawn out on that map. So it's not just some random pixelated trash that you find on Google. It's a very accurate map, written by drawn by an actual cartographer. Did you use Wiki African Civilizations map as a reference? I did not. I'm Cameroonian. The Bamum are from the Tikar tribe. They migrated from Kush. Well, I have a Bamum. I have someone from Cameroon, descended from, I don't know his ethnic group, but I know from the Bamum kingdom, and he's never said anything about them coming from Kush. Yeah, is that you, Prince? Kaburi? Let me go ahead and give you moderator hidden history. Okay, just make sure you... Okay, so... Yeah. Also, some more news expected. In addition to the map merchandise, there's gonna be another piece of merchandise that I will be offering soon. This is a warrior I drew out. It's kind of messy right now. Still need to clean it up a bit, but... This is a warrior from the Benin Empire. I think the Benin armor is like the coolest armor I have... Some of the coolest armor, not gonna say the coolest, but some of the coolest armor I've ever seen, especially for Africa. And I've never seen any good depictions of it. The most detailed depictions of it I've ever seen were from the plaques themselves. So I decided to, you know, draw this very highly detailed, time-consuming drawing, which took forever, by the way, but here it is. And I'm also very rusty with drawing, so don't judge it too harshly. And I plan to put this on a t-shirt. And then at the back of the t-shirt, it'll say, "We don't come from nothing." Does that sound like something you guys would be interested in? Or any suggestions you have? And again, I'm going to be making a video showcasing all this stuff, by the way, just to make it a little less hectic. Because the more, like, as of now, most of my support is coming from ad revenue from YouTube itself and Patreon.com. And it's greatly appreciated. I mean, all of the support I'm getting from Patreon is for next to nothing, you know? Like, I don't really have a lot of rewards right now. I really want to have rewards. Like, some of this merchandise, for example, will be free for patrons or extremely discounted for patrons. But, I want, on top of that, though, like I said, I want to open some kind of merchandise line for this channel as a way that, you know, supporters can benefit from it somehow. Nice, I like Khanum and Sahelian armor more, though. Khanum armor is pretty cool. I mean, it's like one of the only examples of plate armor to exist in sub-Saharan Africa. And Sahelian armor, I mean, I don't know, all the armor of that region looks very similar to Eurasian armor, in my opinion. I think the Benin is like the most, probably one of the coolest, completely, uniquely, unapologetically indigenous African armors I've ever seen. So, and I think that's probably one reason I like it so much. I buy the shirt? Awesome. Yeah, like I said, I'm working on the shirt and working on a bunch of things right now. And it's kind of hard to balance out my time. It's like I'm working on the shirt, I'm working on the map, and I'm working on all my videos. Got collaborations I'm working on, patron requests I'm working on. So, just doing my best to get this stuff all out there. Might need to set my own Patreon. Yeah, go for it, man. You know, get your YouTube booming. Benin armor is just plain rad. I agree. I love Benin armor. It's amazing. It's just, and one of the coolest things about it is it seemed, the way it appears to me is that it doesn't seem to be influenced by any outside influence. Like, it looks very, very, very purely indigenous, and I really love that about it. Not that there's anything wrong with, you know, adopting armor from other people. I'm just saying I think that the Benin armor is like a very excellent example of the types of armor that Africans can make on their own. They didn't wear shoes. The Benin didn't wear shoes in battle. That's the better way to put it. I read somewhere that the Benin used Pangolan-inspired armor painted in bright red. The Benin actually wore armor made of Pangolan scales. But as of recent, the red stuff that you see them wearing that has the same pattern as Pangolan scales, that's not genuine Pangolan scales, because it's illegal to poach pangolins because they're an endangered species now. But back in historical times, it was genuinely made of Pangolan armor, which is pretty awesome. And Pangolan scales are tough. Like, a Pangolan can resist a lion attack, just to give you an idea of how tough those scales are. So I'm sure they're pretty effective against swords and arrows as well. Benin armor used various leathers and some metal. Yep, they did. They used their helmets, like that forehead guard that you see this warrior wearing, for example. That's made of brass or bronze. Like I said, this image still needs to be cleaned up, so don't judge it too harshly. It still needs to be cleaned up and refined. This is just what I have as of right now, just to showcase. But yeah, that was made of brass. The this little apron, I guess is the best way to compare it with, was typically made of from what I could have gathered. I mean, I have books and stuff. There's no surviving examples, but from what I can gather, it was made of usually leather, elephant hide, and sometimes their helmets were made of crocodile hide. Benin versus Ashanti, who would... Oh, that would definitely be the Ashanti. Simply put, they had a bigger army and guns. I mean, the Benin had a few horses, but that was really the only advantage they had. But the Ashanti had guns and they had a bigger army. I mean, it's hands down Ashanti. Was the armor just for generals or everyone? I'm sure it was probably for richer people. I doubt the common foot soldiers wore armor. But they probably had shields, but like the shield that he's carrying, but not armor. The swords were badass too. Yeah, there was the opia, which is what he's carrying. That's the opia, which was very similar to the Roman gladius. Will you do a video on the knock? Yeah, probably at some point. Yeah. I feel like the Ashanti would win because they have better tactics, guns, some horses, and logistics. Yeah, I mean, they did have horses, but they never I don't think they ever adopted them as widely as the Benin Empire did. Even the Benin Empire didn't adopt them that widely. Didn't Benin have guns too? They had guns, but they didn't use them. They weren't their primary weapons of war. They were kind of something that they deploy like a very small detachment of, you know, musketeers for certain campaigns, but they never used them in any major campaigns, nor did their common infantrymen carry guns. Whereas in the Ashanti army, the gun was like their standard weapon across the board. Would you like to learn an African language? I would, definitely. Benin versus Aztecs, I don't know. That would be a pretty close one, but factoring out disease, of course, I think Benin would win strictly due to the few horses they did have, and the fact that they had metal weapons. I mean, those are two pretty big advantages. Which, by the way, that's another thing I haven't publicly announced, which I will be doing. Again, I'm going to summarize all the stuff in the video. I just wanted to show my face, literally, to you guys, because it's been a while. But I plan, long-term goal, to make a Deadliest African Warrior series. If you ever seen that show Deadliest Warrior that used to come on Spike TV, not sure, some of you guys might be too young to remember that show, but it came out in, I think, the early 2000s, or not early, maybe mid 2000s, and it was basically, it would pit warriors around the world against one another. For example, there was an episode with a samurai versus a Spartan, you know, which is pretty awesome. Of course, the only two African warriors they had were the Zulu and the Zande, which I had never even heard of until I seen that show, which are both very, I don't know, I guess comparatively speaking, very primitive compared to other African warriors. Like, a Benin warrior would have been awesome on that show. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to start my own Deadliest African Warrior series, where I will do the exact same thing that the show did, except every episode will be a different type of African warrior pitted against another warrior from throughout history. Zande were against Native Americans? Yeah, they were against the Aztecs. And they won, of course. I mean, like I said, they had better weapons, in my opinion. Or, well, in their opinion as well. Alright, let's see. I'm kind of behind on this chat. Wow, we're breaking a record right now. I mean, I kind of expected it since my channel's grown a lot since last time I streamed, but we got 34 viewers right now, guys. If you're enjoying the live stream, I know I'm pretty much just sitting here talking, but if you enjoyed the live stream, go ahead and click that like button, show your support, and I appreciate you guys attending. This was totally unplanned, so it's actually, I think that's the more surprising part about the numbers I'm getting right now. Especially considering most of my European viewers are probably sleeping right now, and African viewers. Alright, so if I missed anything you guys said or asked, feel free to ask or say it again, because I'm not going to scroll up in the chat, not going to lie. Did the Ashanti have any contact with Arabs? Yes, they did. The Ashanti, they had contact with Arabs, but they still, Arabs weren't really in any positions of powers. The Ashanti held firm control of the power of their own nation. Arabs were used for scribes, though. They used Arab scribes to record information, as far as I know. But the Arabs were never in any significant role as they were in places like the Hausa or Mali kingdoms. I read that Benin used male shirt as well, but rarely. I think I did hear that somewhere. But I don't think I've ever seen any Benin plaques depicting Benin warriors wearing mail. I could name the rulers of Bamum. I don't know much about Bamum. I love their architecture. I should probably do some research and make a video about them at some point. Sup, Shroom Sorcerer? Welcome to the stream. Oh, we almost hit 40 views. Or 40 viewers. Always see you in these types of vids, man. Always seeing you in these types of vids. What types of vids? Oh, you're talking about Shroom Sorcerer. Why didn't you complete part 2 of What If Africans Industrialized? It looks like you just said... Yeah, no, I didn't give up on it yet. Like I said, I just have so much on my plate right now. I have... Let's see. I have 2, possibly 3 collaborations lined up. One of which is way overdue. I have a patron request to complete. And that has to be literally my very next video, because it was a $10 pledge. And then I have 2 other continuations to patron requests. And one of those continuations is the What If West Africans Industrialized video. That's a continuation to a patron request. So, another Benin and Ife are different, but when did they become different empires? The Benin and Ife are ethnically completely different. Like, they've never been the same people. They've been closely intertwined through relations. Like, the Ife are a Yoruba people, and the Benin are an Edo people. And historically, the Yoruba and the Edo people have intermarried, they've waged war, they've been very close to one another historically, kind of like the British and the French, for example, but they were never the same people. 4 collaborations? Yeah, maybe hidden history if you, if you hold to your part of the deal, Do you know if Central or South African civilizations like Zimbabwe had contact with the Islamic African civilizations? Probably not. Great Zimbabwe had indirect contact with Islamic civilizations from the Swahili coast. They traded with the Swahili, but they were never as far as I know, they were never like directly connected with Islam or Islamic people. They kind of just like, you know, shipped stuff over and moved on with their day. For the introduction of cotton, what African padded armor, what was African padded armor made of? As far as I know, Africans have always made their armor out of cotton, and actually, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure cotton has been used by Africans since prehistory, because it grows in the tropics. It grows in the tropical Americas and Africa. Zimbabwe had contact with Indian Ocean trade, so probably, yeah, exactly. Which lecture is trustworthy when it comes to explaining African history? Honestly, there are very few. Home Team's channel, I think, is... This is my honest opinion on Home Team. His channel is good for African history, but this isn't me talking crap about him or anything, but I feel like he's not, as his name implies, or as his name implies the way he should be, I don't think he's much of a team player. I mean, don't get me wrong, he does good videos, but he's not, his channel's not very community oriented. Like, it's, oh my god, thank you, Turk, I appreciate that. Appreciate the $20. Thank you so much. That's the next video request I was telling you guys how to do, by the way, Turk's video request. What was I saying? Oh yeah, he's not very community oriented. Like he makes videos, he has a Patreon, he's making his money, blah 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 blah, but he doesn't have, you know, a community Discord. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but he doesn't have a community Discord like me. He doesn't live stream on YouTube. He doesn't, like, almost all of his stuff is done through Patreon. So, though he's doing a good for the African history community, he's not going, or let me rephrase it, though he's doing good for African history and worldview, as his channel's about, he's not doing it in a community way. He's not doing it in a way that makes you feel like you're part of a team, unless you're a patron. I think that's ultimately my feeling of him. I mean, he's clearly doing something right. He has like 70,000 subscribers, and last time I checked, at least, probably more now. And, you know, making bank on Patreon, but he's just not, he's untouchable. Somebody used that word, he's untouchable. If you leave a comment on this video, you're not gonna reply. And it's been like that since as long as he's had like 8,000 subscribers on this channel. It's always been like that, you know. And here I am with 6,500 or 6,600 subscribers, actively chatting in the Discord, live streams, making videos, replying to every comment I can. And I think that's important. Again, this isn't me tooting my own horn. I just think that this is important. This is important to promoting and creating African history. We got to work together, you know. And which is another reason in my Discord server, or in our Discord server, in our community Discord server, that's why we have a promote yourself channel for other creators, like Hidden History, for example. He makes videos as well. Check out his channel. He's not very consistent with his stuff. I'm going to call him out right now. I tell him that all the time. He's not consistent with his stuff, but he does make some good stuff. So you should check out his channel and drop him a sub. And yes, Turk is a vassal in Discord, which is a role for patrons. He's a $10 patron, one of 2 or 3 I think I have, and he just dropped $20. Like, thank you so much. Seriously, that means a lot. And yes, we do have to get my Patreon up, because, you know, the more support I get, the more often I can do this stuff, the more consistency you're gonna see, the more quality you're gonna see. It's just gonna be good. Oh, what's up, Sword of Africa, another patron. He's also a moderator in my Discord, so I'm gonna go ahead and give him a moderator for the live stream as well. I do plan on live streaming again, not nearly as much as I did before, but at least maybe like once a month. I'm gonna try to start live streaming again. When you make it, don't forget us. Oh, trust me, I won't. Like I said, I got 6,500 subs. I know I'm not like super famous, but a lot of people, once they get to this point, they feel like they're too good to just like talk face-to-face, person-to-person to their viewers. I don't ever want to be like that. Like, I always want to be somebody who will reply to your email right away, reply to you in Discord. You know, I'm not going to be within reason, obviously. If I don't have time, I don't have time. But I'll at least let you know I don't have time. Are all Afrocentrics and Pan-Africans toxic? The word Afrocentric has kind of been stolen by, as they say, the Hoteps. But yes, technically they are. But Afrocentrism was originally started with noble intentions. But yes, for the most part, a lot of them are toxic. And I think it sucks because they make channels like mine and Hidden Histories like less credible. People come to our channels and assume we're just like, we was Kangs and original Native Americans and shit, you know, when we're not doing that at all. So hence why I added the Kang character, Mr. Kang, to my my more recent videos. Andy and C traveled to an extent and had direct contact with Mesoamerica before. I also personally think that you waste your time with some comments. I do. I definitely do. It's a bad habit. In the future, I'm probably going to just stop giving those people attention and give guys like you attention instead. Do you know about Igbo mathematics? I did read up on it a little bit before. I actually have an ebook about mathematics in West Africa. I just have to look at it again, but I don't know much about it. Same with Yoruba. I know that they had a numerical system that was based on 20 rather than 10, which I found pretty interesting. Alright, let's see. Why Native American Indians were more advanced than Native Amazonians? I mean, you can ask that about any world civilization. It's always been, why were the Romans more advanced than the Germanic tribes, you know? There are very many variables that factor into how advanced a civilization becomes. Oh, it's fine. I mean, this is an African history channel, Anonymous, but we're all history lovers, or most of us are history lovers in general, you know? More emphasis on African history, but history is a topic that's just... History is a topic that I love in general. Hence why I made a video about the Roman expeditions into Africa. Which, by the way, I totally forgot to mention that Sword of Africa was the one who brought that to my attention. I should have credited him for that. What do you think of Claude Anderson? I'm not even sure who that is. Go on to channels of Search of Uhuru, Holipsism. Would be interesting to hear political focus meet historical focus via African diaspora. I'm not really a whole fan of political stuff, but I might check it out. That kind of value judgment by Amazonians did have cities and stuff. I did hear that they found ruins back in the Amazons, but they were long gone. Like, at the time that Europeans arrived, the Amazon jungle was mostly, you know, hunter-gatherer tribes. But they did find ruins, which I found pretty interesting. I feel that the trade is what boosts education and economics. Oh, you're talking about in historical times, yeah. Exactly. The Roman Empire was located on the Mediterranean, and during that time in history, the Mediterranean, during most of history actually, the Mediterranean was a hotspot of trade and exchange of ideas and warfare. Like, it just constantly, those regions were constantly benefited and grew wealthy from trade. Oh, looks like we got our first dislike. There's always that one guy. Oh, look, there's a black guy talking about African history. Let me click that dislike button. It's always that one guy. Can you speak more about ancient Ghana civilization? Right now, no. Sorry, I mean, it's this isn't a Ghana stream. In the future, yeah, probably. I mean, maybe when I talk about the history of the Sahelian empires. That's a reasonable perspective. Politics is basically always degenerate cancer and attracts negativity. Exactly. What are your thoughts on Liberia? It seems like black Americans did something to colonize it where they were the elite. Well, you're in luck, my friend, because Turk Lord, the one who just gave me that generous $20 donation, requested a video on Liberia, and that will be the very next video I upload. So, you're in luck. You will get all of your answers from that video. Haha, that one hater, yeah. Checking in. What's up, three-eyed bro? What is your field of research in history? Me, it's the development of arms and armor throughout the world time. For me, it's just I like art, architecture, and warfare. Those are my main focal points. Art, architecture, warfare, and technology. And things like medicine too, you know, just overall development and advancement of civilizations, and all of those categories fit into it. Are you African American? Yes, I am. What is your view on black racism? Can or can't blacks be racist? I think anyone who looks at one race as lesser to them than their own race is racist. Doesn't matter what race you are. If you see one race and you compare that race to yours and you say, oh, that race is worse than mine, or that person is worse than me simply because of their color of their skin or their ethnic background, then you're racist. Simple. I mean, like, everybody should be judged on an individual basis. Like, just because of my skin color doesn't make me any different than him, and just because of his skin color doesn't make me any different than he is. It's his actions and his morals and his values that define him or her. What animals are most predominantly depicted in African culture? Leopards, lions, elephants. I'd say those three. Leopards, lions, and elephants for the most part. Benin were really big on, and snakes. Definitely snakes. Benin were really, really big on leopards and snakes, for example. Like, their palaces would have towers at the top that would, that they believe might have actually been used as lightning rods, and they would have serpents going all down the tower, made of brass. Yes, cattle were more prominent in southern African cultures and eastern African cultures. Shango was the ruler of Yoruba, don't quote me on that, I might be wrong. Yeah, Shango was the third king of the Oyo Empire, but he was posthumously deified as the god of thunder from the Yoruba religion. Snakes and cows. Yeah, I mean, Africa's a big continent. You can't really generalize the way their art was. It really depended. I mean, it's just like anywhere else in the world. Like, it just, you go to one part of the continent and it's going to be completely different from another part. Hippos and giraffes? I don't really see hippos or giraffes in African artwork a lot. Would you like to see a God of War game with African gods? I'd like to see any game with African anything from historical times. Anything more than modern poverty, disease, and chaos. I'd like to see an African game that takes place in an African civilization. What about the Fulani? Those guys give the Dinka a run for their money in terms of cattle obsession. I haven't done much research into the Fulani, but I guess it shouldn't be surprising because I'm pretty sure they descended from nomads, so from the north. Africa already had written scripts. Yeah, some parts did, but most of it didn't. Agree, anything African that's actually African. Yeah. Daily reminder that Africa is a large and has over 3 Europes, nearly 4. Yep. Below the Sahel ideally. Yeah. There's so much emphasis on North Africa. Like, so much. Like, even these... That's another problem I have. Like, a lot of these African history channels, it's not necessarily that they're Afrocentric or Hotep, but a lot of them will just focus... They'll put all of their emphasis on North Africa, or like Egypt and Kush. Like, that's another thing, like, you know, home team history, again, like, he's doing a great thing for the African history community, but even his channel, despite the fact that it covers all of Africa, it still has a very noticeable emphasis on North Africa, you know. So again, not talking bad about him, but it's like, just in general, like, it undermines the civilizations of the rest of the continent, which I think is sad, especially considering Black diaspora mostly trace their ancestry from West Africa, and there's literally hundreds of really impressive civilizations that existed all throughout West Africa, but nobody ever wants to talk about them. By the way, I like to see a Shango and Thor type thing. I think Home Team made a video about that like a couple years back. As Middle Eastern, I view North Africans and even Horners partially as being a lot more connected to us. Hard to explain. I mean, they were Islamic, and they've been trading with them for centuries, so They kind of are. I'm not saying they're like descended from them, but they definitely are culturally connected to them more so than sub-Saharan Africans, in my opinion. Is there any connection between Montezuma and Mansa Musa? Not at all. Montezuma is from the Aztec Empire, and Mansa Musa is from the Mali Empire. Not to mention, Montezuma lived in the 1500s, whereas Mansa Musa lived in the 1300s. So there's literally no connection whatsoever. Hannibal was white, right? He was of Greek origin. I don't know. There are no depictions of Hannibal. The only depiction of Hannibal is on a coin, which, as far as I know, is believed to be him, but not proven. Bantus are very new to Southern Africa. Yeah, Central Africa and West Africa are interesting. Bantus aren't that new to Southern Africa. The Bantu migrations took place between like the years of 2000 BC and 580, if I remember correctly. So that's not that recent. There is not enough focus on good aspects of Congoid Africans outside of Eurocentric or Metacentric contexts. Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. Do you plan to do any videos on medieval Sudan in the future? If you won't cover ancient Nubia, I probably will cover Nubia at some point. I just feel like I have bigger priorities because if you type in African history anywhere, you're gonna find stuff about Nubia all the time. And I feel like there's too much overemphasis there. Who built Timbuktu? Timbuktu was built in prehistoric times. No one's really sure exactly who built it, but it was built in prehistoric times. But I mean, my guess is probably the Soninke people. Considering, actually no, Timbuktu. I don't think Timbuktu was part of Ghana. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's a short answer to your question. Hannibal should look Arab. He was Punic from what I read. No one is trying to say that Kush and Egypt aren't African. Exactly. You know, Africa is a big continent, but as an African American, I don't even like to refer to myself as an African American because that paints, for one, that's wrong. I'm not African. I'm American. Born and raised in America, parents born and raised in America, grandparents born and raised in America, all the way back to like my great parents, you know? Like, we're American, and we can relate more to Americans and Europeans than we can to Africans. That's one reason. Reason number two is that it makes this misconstruement that the entire giant landmass of Africa is our history. That's not true. Like, genetically, I could be more related to someone from... I'm more related to a pasty white dude from the UK than I am than a Zulu, for example. So a lot of people are like, oh, Egypt is in Africa, so it's part of our history. No, it's not. That's just like, you know, that's just like an Indian guy saying he's related to a Japanese guy just because they're both in Asia. You know, like that makes just as much sense as that statement. So that's why I steer clear of North Africa, because it's not my history, you know. Well, let me rephrase it. It's not my history, and it's over talked about to begin with. So if I was going to talk about Egypt and North Africa, that would be on a collective history thing. It wouldn't be on an African thing in this context, if that makes sense. Do you know about Koriku? Very good animation films. I've seen it. I think it's kind of weird. I think the nudity is a bit excessive, yet the storyline is very childlike. It was just overall weird. It like didn't know what kind of audience it wanted to cater to, I feel. If they had censored the nudity and made it into a children's movie, it would have been great. But everything else about it was just kind of strange to me. To your best ability, could you give a rough timeline of sub-Saharan African civilizations, at least west of Central, as they pop up in and out of history? In a video in the future, yes. I do have a collaboration plan for a History of West Africa every year video. In the chat right now, no, that would be way too much talking. Can you zoom out to show the home Oh, just go away. Can you show the whole map? Yeah. There's the whole continent. Aren't most African Americans rooted in Yoruba? No, Terry. Most African Americans come from this general area of Africa right here. The Yoruba are specifically right in this area. But yeah, most African Americans are from several different parts of West Africa. Oh Lord, save us, Hotep. Africa has more genetic diversity than the rest of the world. Indeed. Jabari, I have sent you links proving blacks were in Egypt. Oh god. I know there were blacks in Egypt, Sarti. I never claimed there were no blacks in Egypt. There were blacks in Egypt, there were whites in Egypt, there were brown people in Egypt. I'm just not... When people say Egyptians were black or Egyptians were white, it's like, do people not realize that there was such a thing as a multicultural society? It's like, you will see... It's like somebody going to Detroit and saying, oh, Americans are black because, look, there's black people here. I mean, there were... Egypt was right in the crossroads of different civilizations, so... Let's see... As far as my lineage goes, I'm mostly descended from West and Central Africa, but I'm also an American 9 generations in. Exactly, same here. I'm 90% African, 8% European, 1% Native American, and less than 1% Central Asian, according to my DNA results. Egyptian civilization seems mostly Semitic, though. I mean, based on... I'm not even going to get into it. This always goes down a rabbit hole. But long story short, I'm just going to keep it at this statement. Egypt wasn't black, and it wasn't white. It was a lot of things. There were deities from all different racial backgrounds in Egypt. It's evident in the art, and it's evident in the mummies. It's evident in everything. So when people are constantly trying to prove Egypt was black, Egypt is black, it's like, to me, that disgusts me, because it's like, why are you so determined to claim Egypt when, for one, you're not even related to Egyptians whatsoever, and two, there's so many other civilizations, as you can tell from this map, in Africa to claim, so why are you so fixated on Egypt? As you can tell on this map, I haven't even put Egypt on it yet. I will at some point, but it's not in my priorities because there's so much other stuff I need to focus on. Like, Egypt is so obvious, I could easily do that, but everything else, it's like, requires a lot more research and a lot more time because there's so much there, so much to be proud of. So, that's the end of my rant on that thing. Alright, most people historically in pre-colonial times were of color. I believe genetically it has been proven that the world's population migrated from Africa to the place they are now. Yes, the human race began in Africa, but we're talking tens of thousands of years. Europeans colonized Europe, I believe, like 30,000 years ago. Asians colonized Asia like 80,000 years ago. So, I mean, that's more than enough time to go from black to another race. Like, a Chinese person clearly isn't black, but they originally came from Africa. So that argument is, oh, they were originally Africans, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that was long before civilization ever even began. That was when tiny groups of hunter-gatherers with stone-tipped spears came out of Africa. Like, plenty of time for languages, cultures, and even physical characteristics to change. African Americans are not mostly Bantu. Most West Africans are not Bantu. That is true. West Africans, though closely related to Bantu, they are not Bantu people. Though it's pretty clear that Bantu and West Africans share a common ancestor, though. A common recent ancestor. Why did they give you Kemet's land to Kush? Because that's how big Kush was at its maximum extent in the 25th dynasty. As you can tell, there's overlap in this empire, or in this map, because this focuses on several different time periods at the same time. You have Ghana, Mali, and Songhai all overlapping each other as well. You got the Razvi, Zimbabwe, and Mutapa, and Maravi all overlapping each other. Sinar overlapping Kush. Like, these are overlapping timelines, so... And I'm just showing some of the more significant points in their history on this map as of now. If West Africans aren't Bantu, what are they? Neither. They're just West Africans. Bantu isn't a sharp ethnic group. It's a loosely defined term to refer to an original group of Africans who share similar languages who migrated from Central Africa, like Central West Africa, like southern Nigeria, Cameroon area, in, like, 2,000 or so years ago, or well, a little over 2,000, like 3,000 years ago. and that explains the similarities in the languages of Central and Southern Africa and parts of East Africa. Are Zulus Bantus? Yes, they are. Because Islam was more dominant in those days. I missed a part. Some West Africans are Afro-Asiatic speakers. Yep, like the Hausa, the Fulani, they're Afro-Asiatic speakers. Bantus moved southeast, originating in West Africa. They originated in like Central West Africa. They weren't directly in what we geographically classify as West Africa. They are more like I said, more like Cameroon, southeastern Nigeria region is where they originated. I heard the only non-Bantus in Southern Africa were Khoisan. Yeah, pretty much. Khoisan people. And the Khoisan were the original inhabitants of Southern Africa before they were largely displaced by the Bantu. Fulanis are Niger-Congo speakers. Are they? I thought they were Afro-Asiatic. I know the Hausa. I know for a fact that the Hausa are Afro-Asiatic. I thought the Fulanis were as well, but I could be wrong. I'm not 100% on them. Skin color changes over time, the span of thousands of years, or do you think that's pseudoscience as well? I think it's definite. I think it's true. I mean, it does. You don't see any pasty white guys being indigenous to the tropics. You know, it makes sense. You should do a video on African trade connections with foreign cultures, example China, India, Arabia. I do have a video of the Swahili traders with China and India. And I do talk about the trans-Saharan caravan routes from the Mali Empire. But I don't have any specific dedicated groups, or any videos completely 100% dedicated to trading. The Fulani are Niger-Congo, only the Hausa are Afro-Asiatic. Ah, thanks for the correction. Pygmies are natives to Central Africa? Yes, they are. Were there any centralized traditional religions in Africa? To my knowledge, well, depends on what you mean by centralized. If centralized being that it's the foundation of their government and state, yes. If you mean centralized as in like they were like conquering other people and forcing it on them, no, that never happened, as far as I know. But the Ashanti, for example, I use them as an example a lot. Their government was modeled off of Ashanti religion. Like, all of their morals, laws, values, and principles were modeled off of their religion. Fulani speak a mixture of languages possible. Probably... Everyone used to have ships in trade. Not everyone. Like, West Africans, for example, they never had... As far as I know, the only account I know of West African ships are the supposed fleet of the Mali Empire in the year 1311, led by Abu Bakr II. But for the most part, West Africans used small river boats and canoes. They had sails, but they never built it. They never built what we would call a ship in recent times, as far as I know. The East Africans are the only, and North Africans are the only Africans I know of that actually built proper ships. You can prove what to me? That Africans all had ships? What do you believe? Wait. What do you believe was the most advanced in terms of technology, African empire or culture? Technologically, I don't know. That would be a tough one, but probably East Africa, probably like the Ethiopian area, the cultures in the Ethiopian and Swahili area, because they had extensive connections with extensive and pretty direct connections with Islamic technology. How do you think corn got into West Africa? Native Americans and blacks have been trading. Oh my god. This isn't about pseudoscience, Sarti. If there's hard, clear evidence dug up from the archaeological record and published into a paper or a book or a university, cool. I will talk about that in my videos. Could you be right? Yes, you could be right. Are you right? Are you academically proven to be right? No. Therefore, I'm not going to preach that stuff on my channel, because, you know, people who do that are what make channels like mine get frowned upon, you know. So I heard East Africa was the most advanced due to transmission of compass and guns from the Asian trade. Yeah, exactly. That would be my guess as well. Now, I'd say the Akan were more advanced. I don't know. I mean, they were advanced for West African standards, definitely, but I don't think they were more advanced than East Africans. What is your favorite weapon Africans used? It's too many to decide. Most of them I don't even know the names of. That's the sad part. I'll probably do a whole video on African arms and armors in the future. What, Jabari, me and you need to talk one-on-one. I'm good, man. I get people send me emails. I get people comment my videos all the time talking about this stuff. Like, they send me all these papers and publications and stuff, but none of them are academically accredited. And nearly every single one that brings up proof never has any solid pictures or dates or pictures or names or anything that, like, for example, if I tell you about in my videos, for example, when I tell you about like how the West Africans were iron smelting since the year 1500 BC, I can bring up sources from like UNESCO. If I tell you that West Africans were inoculating patients for smallpox, I can bring that a Harvard University source for that. If I tell you East Africans from the Buganda Kingdom were practicing pre-colonial C-sections, I can bring up a source from the National U.S. Library of Medicine. You can't do that for your claims about Africans and Native Americans trading for thousands of years. You simply cannot do that. You can't get Harvard or National Library of Medicine or UNESCO sources or references for that, and that's why I don't teach that on my channel. Like, that stuff is yet to be proven. It's interesting. It could be true. Cool. And maybe it is. We don't know. Until we get time machines, we won't know. But it's not proven. Therefore, I'm not going to teach it as fact. Like, that's just going to make people... That's going to promote people to constantly teach things that aren't proven. Aquafina is the best? I don't know. As much as I love the Ashanti, as much as I adore the Ashanti, I don't like their swords. I really don't. I don't know why. Many African kings of India were merchants as well. Indeed. There's actually an isolated group of descendants of African sailors and merchants in India and Pakistan to present day. And they're called the Sadi people, I believe. Or City? Are they City or Sadi? I can't remember. Anyway, there's a group of Africans today who are descendants of merchants and mercenaries that exist in Pakistan and India today. Yeah, the cities, that's right. Congo swords were the best. I agree. I love the Congo swords. I just don't know the names of them. That's the sad part. Congo and other Central African swords, like those of like the Zande and the Bamum and all those parts of Africa. Spousal contact occurred, but widespread trade is unlikely regarding the lack of evidence. Indeed. If it happened, I think it was likely just a very small, maybe a few small isolated occurrences of like shipwrecks and stuff like that. Tanakh have been working with ironsmithing since 1500 to 1000 BC. Yes, they have. In South Iran, there are a lot of Swahilis that came there for trade. Yeah, they're remnant. There are pockets of traders throughout, like India and Pakistan, which is pretty cool. I've seen a lot of curved swords. LMAO. The Olmecs were black. Okay. Like I said, no modern academia has proven that there were black people of African descent. Of recent African descent, not the original, like, 20,000 or 100,000 out of Africa migration. Recent, like, past couple thousand years, past few centuries years. There is no evidence of that in existence today. And until it comes into existence, I'm not going to teach it as fact on my channel. Where did West African swords come from? I don't think they found any swords at Nok, but they found some at Igbo Ukwu. I mean, I'm sure swords probably came with ironworking. I'm sure anybody who made an iron sword realized that was tough enough to make it to a very long blade. So, I'm sure they weren't adopted from some outside influence. They were just common sense. I believe the Somali did use camel cavalry. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about the Somali. I just told him to tell me his favorite weapon. Oh, I'm reading these all out of order. Cocoa buns. I actually talked to a Chinese girl a few days ago, and she said she was visiting America for 3 months, and she said that in China, in their school system, they teach it as fact that the Chinese discovered America. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They prove in their schools, and this year the Chinese discovered America at this time. It is a Yoruba sword, but it looks similar to the Maasai swords. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Maasai are in East Africa. Yes, they are in East Africa. My source is Wikipedia and a lecture given in university at England, though can't recall the name. You might have a better source. Oh wait, reading. That's someone else. Alright guys, we're coming up on, well, we're actually over an hour now, I believe. But I just wanted to show you guys I'm still alive, and I'm still breathing, and I wanted to show you some of the exciting stuff I have planned. I'll make a shorter, more summarized video of this. It's nice streaming with you guys again. Expect more in the future, and expect better ones. Expect my cool green screen setup to be here again. And probably some better backgrounds and some better effects as well for my stream. Right now, it's just kind of toss something together. But I shall get back to you guys later. Don't forget to join my Discord. If somebody can be so kind as to link my Discord, or link our Discord into the channel for anybody who wants to join. It's a public Discord, and basically, it's as good as this live stream, minus the fact that there's no video or cool music. There's people talking about history all the time, myself included. So, I guess I'll leave the link to it. Yeah, the command doesn't work anymore for some reason. Okay, so yeah, here's the link to the Discord. Feel free to join, talk, be a history nerds like us, have a good time. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining, thanks for watching. I'll try to have another one in the near future. And especially for those of you from Europe and Africa, I appreciate you attending. I know it's late where you live. See you guys next time.